There are 7 Japanese storage rules that Americans break every single day, and together they're the real reason a house still feels cluttered, no matter how many hours you spend organizing it. Most people are already breaking at least 3 of them without ever realizing these rules exist. Japan built an entire system around this. Homes that are often less than half the size of an American one, fewer closets, no attic, no garage, and somehow still room for everything. The difference was never about owning less. It comes down to a handful of ordinary decisions repeated for years that nobody ever stops to question. The first one is a habit you'll break again tonight without even noticing. And it's why a shirt at the back of that drawer hasn't seen daylight in over a year. #1. Fold standing, not stacked. In most American bedrooms, clothes get stacked flat, one shirt on top of another, 6 or 7 deep in the same drawer. The one on top is the only one that actually gets worn. The shirt buried at the bottom might not see daylight for 2 years, not because you don't like it, but because reaching it means lifting everything sitting above it first. A drawer of 6 stacked shirts quietly becomes a drawer where you own 1 shirt and store 5. In many Japanese homes, the same drawer works differently. Clothes are folded into small, even rectangles and stood upright on their edge, so every single item is visible the moment the drawer opens, nothing hidden underneath anything else. This isn't a modern trend invented for social media. It traces back to an older idea called danshari, refuse, dispose, and separate, a philosophy that treats a stack as a decision you postpone every time you want the item buried at the bottom. Marie Kondo's well-known folding method, the one that reached millions of homes through her Netflix series in 2019, is really the popularized export of that much older practice. Thoughtful, the same logic quietly extends past clothing. Towels rolled and stood on end in a linen closet, bed sheets folded into visible squares instead of shoved into a pile. These are the same rectangle, applied wherever fabric tends to disappear from view. Long pause. A drawer was never meant to be a place where things go to be forgotten. It was meant to be a place where you could still see what you own. #2. Shelf risers close the gap. Open almost any American kitchen or bathroom cabinet, and you'll find the same wasted layer of air, a stack of plates or towels sitting several inches below the shelf above it, because the shelf was built at a standard factory height that has nothing to do with what's actually stored there. Measure that gap with a tape measure, and it's often 5 or 6 inches on a single shelf. Multiply that by every shelf in the house, and it adds up to a surprising amount of empty space you're already paying rent or mortgage on. Pause. In many Japanese homes, cabinets are treated differently. Shelves are set close to the height of what actually goes on them, so a stack of plates might have barely an inch of clearance above it, nothing more. The fix doesn't require new cabinets. A simple shelf riser, a small metal or plastic platform that sits on the existing shelf, creates a second level in that wasted gap, so mugs or bowls can sit above the plates instead of leaving air above them. Thoughtful. It's a small object solving a problem most people assume needs a bigger house. The same wasted air problem hides in linen closets, pantry shelves, even under sink cabinets, anywhere a shelf was built for an average object instead of the one actually living there. Long pause. A cabinet isn't really measured by how tall it was built. It's measured by how much of that height you actually use. #3. Freezer. Upright, labels out. A chest freezer packed the usual way is really a memory test disguised as storage. Bags get thrown in flat, one on top of the last, in the order they were bought, so the one on the very bottom is welded to a layer of frost from a year ago that nobody remembers buying. That's exactly why so many freezers quietly hold 2 bags of the same vegetable, 3 of the same cut of meat. It was easier to buy a duplicate at the store than to spend 20 minutes digging through a frozen pile at home. In many Japanese kitchens, the freezer is treated more like a small filing cabinet than a pit. Bags and containers stand upright in bins, labels facing forward, so opening the door shows nearly everything inside within a couple of seconds. Thoughtful, nothing has to be excavated to be found. The underlying idea is a simple one. If you can't see something, you don't really own it. You're just paying to keep it cold and warm. The fix costs almost nothing. A few plastic bins turned into upright dividers, and it changes the freezer from a place where food quietly expires unseen into a place where every bag has to earn the space it takes up, in plain view. #4. The junk drawer. Sort and set in order. Every American home seems to have one. A drawer nobody planned, filled with a loose battery, a tangle of chargers, a single earbud, a hotel bookmark from years ago, and half a roll of tape. Nobody decided to build a junk drawer on purpose. It happened because an open, undivided space will always drift toward chaos over time, no matter how organized the person using it is. An empty compartment offers no place for anything in particular, so eventually everything ends up in it. In many Japanese homes, the same drawer is split into small compartments. One for batteries, one for cords, one for coins, so every category has its own address before anything gets placed inside. The idea traces back to the first 2 steps of a system used across Japanese workplaces. Seiri and Satan, sort and set in order, a principle borrowed by manufacturing floors and adapted for a kitchen drawer with the same logic intact. Thoughtful, 50 cents worth of plastic dividers is usually enough to end the cycle for good. And what's worth noticing is that a junk drawer was never really a character flaw. It was a drawer that never got a floor plan. Give every small object an address, and it stops drifting from one forgotten corner of the house to another. #5. Tall furniture, not wide. Americans tend to buy furniture by the floor space it takes up. A low, wide dresser, a 6-foot console, a deep chest where the bottom half of every drawer becomes a kind of archaeology dig. And pause. Japanese homes tend to buy furniture by the cubic space it fills instead, because the ceiling above a piece of furniture is free, and every inch of it left empty is space already paid for and never used. And that single difference explains why an American bedroom often has a wide dresser you can only really reach the top of, while a Japanese bedroom of the same size fits a tall, slim tower where every single drawer is within reach. And the evidence for this habit is usually sitting in the garage. A room built to protect a car worth tens of thousands of dollars, currently holding a few $100s of holiday decorations, old paint cans, and a treadmill nobody's touched since it arrived. Long pause. The self-storage industry is the same pattern taken one step further. A recent industry survey found close to a third of American households are now renting a separate space just to hold belongings they don't use at home. A bill that repeats every single month. To solve a problem, a taller, narrower piece of furniture could have solved once for the cost of a single month's rent. And none of this comes down to owning less. It comes down to a habit of buying storage by the footprint on the floor, instead of by everything the ceiling was quietly offering the whole time. #6. Multi-layer hangers. Open a typical American closet and the rail is usually packed edge to edge, hangers pressed so tightly together that nothing slides, while 18 inches of empty air sits above the clothes and 2 feet of nothing waits above the shoe pile below. And the average person spends around 15 minutes a day looking for things they already own, which adds up to roughly 90 hours a year. close to 2 full work weeks spent standing in a closet in quiet frustration. A closet is really measured in rail length, not in floor space, and most homes are only using a single level of the 3 or 4 levels available. In many Japanese closets, a multi-layer hanger holds 4 or 5 pairs of pants from a single hook, using the rail from ceiling height down towards the floor instead of leaving most of it empty. Thoughtful. A shoe rack does something similar for the floor of the closet, turning it into another usable level instead of one flat pile. And none of this requires more closet or less clothing. It requires noticing that a closet was never really full. It was only ever using the one layer that happened to be at eye level. #7. Buy storage as one system. Open the closet under the stairs or the shelf in the garage, and it usually tells the story of every single time someone decided to get organized. A wicker basket from a store run years ago, 2 clear bins bought after a particularly bad week, a cardboard box that was never quite unpacked, a set of canvas cubes that came free with a shelf. Pause. Each one solved a small problem on the day it was bought, and none of them were chosen to work with each other. The wicker basket has a flared lip that won't stack. The canvas cubes are a few inches too tall for the shelf above, so that shelf sits half empty. Thoughtful. In many Japanese homes, storage is treated as infrastructure rather than an emergency purchase. Shelves are measured first, and containers are bought once, as a single system, usually one product line, one color, a couple of sizes that all nest together cleanly. A container that's the wrong depth or the wrong height wastes more space than having no container there at all, because it still occupies the spot while failing to use it properly. Long pause. The fix isn't buying more storage. It's measuring the space that most needs help and choosing one system for the whole room all at once instead of adding one more mismatched piece the next time something feels out of control. None of these 7 habits require a bigger house or fewer belongings. A drawer where clothes stand instead of stack. A shelf riser closing the gap nobody measured. A freezer where every bag faces forward. A few dividers giving small objects an address. Furniture chosen for its height instead of its footprint. A hanger using the rail nobody was using. A storage system bought once instead of one mismatched piece at a time. Together, they add up to something simpler than any single tip on its own. Almost every home already has enough space. What it's usually missing is a system that lets you actually see what's already there. A home doesn't feel calm because it holds less. It feels calm because everything inside it finally has somewhere to stand. Which of these 7 is quietly running your house right now? If this changed the way you look at your own closets and cabinets, subscribe to Tidy Japan for more everyday habits like it.